Hey there, good Saturday morning to you, and welcome to Weekend Recharge. I'm Paul Goodlow.
And I'm Kelly Cass in for Maria LaRosa on this Saturday morning, and folks in the south are begging, even pleading, for just a little bit of sunshine. It would be nice. It's rained 11 out of the past 13 days in Charlotte. We're talking 7 straight days now. And you've heard of seasonal distress, right? Or syndrome, disorder, whatever it is. You're depressed because of the lack of sunshine across the south. Our Saturday snapshot featuring the thick clouds from the northeast all the way down into the southeast. Not only that, of course, our days are shorter, so you really hope to get a little bit of sunshine anyway as far as, you know, this time of year goes. But all across the south, a lot of wet leaves on the ground and on the roads, so be careful. It can be very slippery when you're trying to travel on those wet leaves. New Orleans to Mobile, Biloxi, Atlanta, all the way up through the Carolinas. We've got the wet weather on tap today. Raleigh, North Carolina looking pretty soggy as well. Then we make it up into the northeast where it's been very balmy. As I mentioned, a lot of record highs were either tied or broken yesterday. Temps in the 70s, and it looks like we're going to finally start to see some cooler air, at least getting back to near average for many of these areas across the northeast. But Paul, I know you've got a lot more on the rain.
Off could be an issue, could be challenging throughout much of the day today. And again, in terms of the next sunny, dry day, might be well into next week.
My kids are not happy. Soccer tournament canceled again. We've got like 4 makeup games now because it's been so rainy in the Atlanta area. But we're going to track all the rain and even the possible thunderstorms across the south, because here is a model that's going to show you the progression of all that heavy rain as we go through the next couple of hours. The darker green and yellow, by the way, indicating where we're going to see some of those heavier downpours, maybe some claps of lightning and thunder out there through Birmingham, Tuscaloosa. We got Bama at home, Bulldogs at noon today. It's going to be a little drizzly out there, but hopefully the heavy rain holds off, and even up there toward Volunteer Country, we could be seeing a few scattered showers as well. So here's a look at your forecast for today. All the green on the map is at least a chance for a shower or a thunderstorm. So we're talking the Carolinas down to the Gulf Coast. Tomorrow, very similar to today, only pressed down toward the I-10 corridor, but then look what comes back at us on Monday. Yeah, not good for your commute into Atlanta, Nashville, kind of on the back edge of all that, but Florida, look for the rain and even the thunderstorms in the forecast as we start off your work week and school week. And as a matter of fact, we're talking some pretty good amounts of rainfall here. We could see anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of rain from Raleigh through Atlanta, even back towards Texas. The good news is some of you need the rain. We still have a drought situation going on here in Texas and Louisiana, although we have seen a lot of improvement lately. We're going to see a lot more rain as we go through the next couple of days. Not good for traveling. Check ahead at the airports and just slow it down out there on the roads. Paul, I've been noticing a lot of wet leaves out there. Some of them are even blocking the storm drains, which can lead to a problem with flooding.
First week of November.
I can't believe it.
Definitely looking like perhaps Christmas pretty soon here across the
Smelling like Christmas. You can probably smell the pine out there as the folks are out there skating, even though it's been so balmy. By the way, when they're done with the tree lighting ceremony is December 2nd. At the end of the holiday season, they take the lumber from this tree and use it for Habitat for Humanity. How cool is that?
Well, in fact, they're going to decorate this with over 45,000 LED lights. We're talking 5 miles long of wire to light this thing up.
And this tree about 80 years old, as you just heard that woman talk about, and it measures 78 feet wide and well, Paul, people in Michigan are cleaning up from 3 confirmed tornadoes, and this is relatively rare, especially for this time of the year. The National Weather Service in Detroit surveying some of that damage, and they say that the number of November tornadoes in southeast Michigan from 1950 to 2014, typically we don't see that much action this time of the year. 2 of the tornadoes occurring between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. That made it the first time that tornadoes were actually reported during that time frame here in the southeastern part of the state. High winds also caused thousands of power outages and damage across Michigan yesterday. So remember, when those traffic lights are not working, you treat that as a 4-way stop. Let's talk about our weather for today. We're off to a cool start. Places like Minneapolis, 35 degrees, 38 degrees in Green Bay. Grabbing the jackets here in Chicago as you step out the door with that reading of 40. And later on this afternoon, pretty typical November weather. We're talking mid-50s in Detroit, as well as here in Indianapolis, 58 degrees in St. Louis. You're going to be stuck in the 40s, it looks like, for much of the day in Green Bay, Wisconsin. A little bit of wind out there might make it feel a little bit cooler, have you zipping up those jackets for sure. But again, those temperatures are going to be relatively cool. Cleveland, we're talking 52 degrees for a high temperature. Now, here's a heads up for the middle of next week. We're talking about the threat for some severe weather as the system comes out of the plains and moves through the Ohio Valley, ends up along the East Coast on Thursday. So with that, we'll have to keep an eye out for perhaps damaging winds, maybe even more of those isolated tornadoes. Something to keep an eye on. Much cooler cooler air, Paul, coming in behind that next system. But, you know, it's the time of the year. You get transitional. You know, get the warm, and then you get the rain, and, of course, the colder weather.
And also our second season for severe weather as well.
Exactly.
In the fall. Well, it's now week 10 of college football. It's going to kick off the next weekend recharge. It's all about...
First of all, hi, Nick. Glad that you're watching. Nick Saban might be watching the Weather Channel a little bit more closely today, though, as we've got the Crimson Tide facing off against the LSU Tigers, right? And Brent Taylor will be one of the roughly 100,000 people packed into Bryant there in the Fort Worth area, a very populated area. Half past the hour now on Weekend Recharge. I'm Kelly Cass in for Marie LaRosa.
And I'm Paul Goodlow. A wild start to the month of November for sure. We're talking everything from tornadoes to the first snowfall of the season for many spots out.
Open for the Thanksgiving holiday toward the end of November. Of course, last year we didn't see a whole lot of action, especially in California, but we're hoping, being an El Nino year, we will see a more active storm track to bring more snow to the Sierra. But here in the Pacific Northwest, this is where it's all going on, at least right now. You can see the heavier rain moving across the Puget Sound, just on the west side of Seattle, with more heavy rain coming at the coastline. A little bit of wind along the coast as well, and we're going to be sticking with that rain throughout the day today. Not just Seattle, but Portland, Oregon, all the way down into Northern California. Notice how the rain kind of spreads out in coverage as we get into our Sunday. You head for the hills, some of those higher elevations, you start to see more of a mix, rain and snow. And then at the tippity top of some of those peaks, that's where you'll find some of that snowfall. And it's nice to see the blue on the map, even as far south as Tahoe here in California. So for Monday, more blue on the map. So this is really great news. We spread some of that snow more inland as we go through the beginning of next week. Monday into Tuesday, here comes the snow into Montana, the Tetons, the Colorado Rockies. We'll start to see some of that snow even down towards Denver, Colorado. There's that chance. And then we'll have to watch out for, as that system moves across the middle of the country, as we could see some severe weather Wednesday into Thursday, moving out of the Midwest into the Northeast. Looks like it's going to be pretty wet for some of those big cities in the Northeast come Thursday.